Hello, it's Dr. Victoria Stakelum here with this week's Ask Me Anything. And this week's Ask Me is about goals and staying committed to goals. So the question is, and this is for Serena. Serena, welcome to the Success Collective. The question is, how can someone stay committed to a goal when motivation inevitably fades? I love the inevitably, like we're all going to fade on our motivation eventually. So there is quite a well understood pattern of human psychology that explains both how this happens and what you can do about it. And it sits within the concept of move toward and move away from goals. So when you have something you would like to achieve, it's really important to identify whether your motivation is moved toward, as in, I want to be like that, or I want to achieve that thing, or move away from, as in, this thing feels uncomfortable. And a really great example of this is weight loss. So many of us, when we go on a weight loss or fitness journey, are in move away from. We don't want to feel fat. We don't want to feel heavy. We don't want to feel unfit. So our motivation to get to X stone or kilograms or pounds is not really about getting there. It's about getting away from here, if I'm feeling heavy at the moment. So what happens? We set ourselves up. I'm not happy in the shape I'm in at the moment. So I set myself up a regime and my goal is to get to X weight, let's say. And I start working towards this goal, and time passes and maybe I do start experiencing some weight loss and I start feeling trimmer and I start feeling better. And what typically happens is as I get further and further away from my start point and closer towards the goal, I forget the pain of being at the start point. So I start relaxing. Oh, this is great. I've lost weight. I'm fitting into the clothes I wanted to fit into. I feel good. I might just have that glass of wine. I might just have that treat. I'll leave off my run today because I'm feeling good. I can do that for a day or two. When we're far enough away from the pain that had us create the goal in the first place, it's really easy to start sliding back toward where we were. And then when we get closer to it, oh, I've regained the weight. This is horrible. I don't want to feel like this. My jeans don't fit me anymore. Back to the original goal. This is why so many of us yo-yo diet. It also explains why often when we're starting a business, we have a goal to generate a certain amount of income because feeling like I've got no income is really scary and unpleasant. And then maybe I get a client or two. So then I stop doing the things that out of desperation I did to get a client or two. And I'm back into the famine. It's why we often end up in feast famine in business terms as well. So being really clear on whether you are in move toward or move away from goals is important. If you are in move away from goals, it is much better to find a frame on that you feel you can move toward. I had a client some years ago now we were working on alcohol dependency. This was a client who was struggling with alcohol dependency and had set a series of milestones through which they were not going to drink. They were no longer drinking alcohol because they had noticed that when they were drinking alcohol, it wasn't in their control. But what was happening was as they reached the 6 month milestone, the 9 month milestone, they were starting to lose their discipline, their motivation around not having a drink. And it's because they were far enough away from the original pain that had caused them to realize they needed to stop drinking alcohol. But there was no finish line, there was no end line. There were just these milestone dates. And there was also a lot of identity built into it. So this individual identified as someone with an alcohol problem. So what we did was create a move toward goal and a corresponding identity. So the move toward goal for this individual was they were going to run a triathlon. They were going to compete in a triathlon. So a really tangible move towards goal that was much more compelling and interesting than I'm going to hit a year without having a drink. And the other thing was they were going to build an identity around that. I'm going to be the fit and strong person. I'm going to be the person that runs triathlons, not I'm going to be the recovering alcohol dependent person. So having a move toward goal and updating your identity. So I'm not going to be the 11 stone person that's always struggled with weight. I'm going to be the fit, strong, healthy person that doesn't think about weight because I don't need to, because I'm fit, strong, and healthy. And maybe my measure of that is I'm going to go and I'm going to do, a fitness challenge, a high rocks or a marathon, or I'm going to buy that dress that I've always wanted to fit into and feel great in. And my identity is that of a person that looks fabulous, not of a person that's a yo-yo dieter. So making sure you're in move towards, setting a move towards goal, being really mindful to stay focused on that rather than keep looking back at the move away from and the pain that you've left behind. And the other thing that we sometimes need is a goal beyond the goal. Because the other thing that can happen is when you achieve your move toward goal, it's like, oh, what next? What now? That's done. Like if my goal was to get to 11 stone and I did all these things to get to 11 stone and now I'm there, it's like, oh, now I don't need to be doing all these things because I've hit my goal. The brain kind of closes down at that point. Okay, we're done. Then it's really easy to slide back. Then you're in maintenance, which is less motivating than goal. So setting a next goal, which isn't necessarily lower weight, it's something else that is in line with maintaining that weight, maybe something more identity shaped. So that is my guidance on how to stay committed when motivation might fade in relation to a goal. It's actually not so much about how to stay committed, it's actually about how to frame that goal so that it's sufficiently compelling for the long term. So make sure it's move towards rather than move away from. Notice if you've been in move away from goals and then been drifting back. And if you can, as you're starting to approach that goal, set a goal beyond the goal so that you keep your positive momentum around it. I hope that that's helpful. If you have a question of your own on anything to do with success, mindset, goal achievement, what else? Small business, leadership, psychology, then please drop your question somewhere here in the Success Collective. And each week I pick one person's question to answer. And if you have your question responded to in a video, I will also send you my little PDF 100 ways to raise your vibration. I hope you're having a great week and have a good weekend, and I'll see you next time.